Greetings and salutations, and welcome back to our Europa Universalis 4 game. As Delhi with RedBstrd. As always, we are going through and trying to explain all of our decision making. Where we last left our nation, had done quite a bit of conquest. I really need to do a little bit more to make these borders look a little nicer. But we'll wait for Timurids to get a little bit weaker, because I got some rebel problems. I have a feeling that things are only going to get worse for them. They've been knocked off of the list of the 8 greatest powers in the world. And things should only go downhill. As you can see, the Renaissance hasn't spread there at all. They haven't even embraced feudalism, so that's going to happen at some point as this stuff spreads, as feudalism spreads. But they're paying 50% higher tech cost for that, and then they're paying somewhere around 32 for not having the Renaissance. And then colonialism isn't going to spread very rapidly to them either. Yeah, so they're going to fall further and further behind us in tech. So what else is going on? Well, we have Garhwal as a vassal, Lokistan as an ally, Bengal as an ally, Malwa as an ally, Vijayanagar as an ally. So we're pretty secure in our alliance systems. A lot of the other... we've got Jharkhand as a vassal too. And we're trying to integrate Garhwal into our country, which will let us fill that slot with another vassal if we want, possibly Guj. That way we can expand into this Tibetan plateau. And we do need to expand. Second Gujarat, however, would put us at war with our ally Malwa. And we have a truce with Delhi for the next, with Jaunpur the next 8 years. We could attack Nepal. I'd rather just save up manpower if that's our choice, because Nepal is friendly with us, and we don't desperately need this territory. It's pretty low development. We'll take it eventually. There's no rush for it. I was getting a sense of where everything was sitting. It'd be nice if at some point Ladakh gets its independence from the Timurids. I think that's going to happen. Okay, donation. Some imams, so our clergy, have asked for financial support. So we can spend some money to get piety, or lose piety and lose prestige. We have to give some money, so it's good that we were filling up our treasury a little bit. We have cause for war because Jaunpur had insults this. But we still have a truce, so. So what happens if we break a truce? Well, if we break a truce, next time I have a diplomat free, I'll show you what it looks like. Essentially, we take a major hit to our stability, and we upset other nations quite a bit. Gujarat is starting to get bigger. Okay, there's a religious feast at the end of Ramadan. So Muslims around the world try to show common goal of unity. So we want to invite everyone. That will help us buddy up to all of the Sunnis around us. Actually, I think all of the Muslims. This Gujarat should be probably Shiite. Yeah, they're Shiite. So it's all the Muslims around us. But that'll cost us money that we don't have. But it gives us administrative power. That's kind of nice. Now we'll just... We could spend a little bit less money and get less piety. But we're just going to go with the 5 because we're maxed out. If we would have had enough spare cash to avoid the loan, I definitely would have gone for an increased administrative power. Okay, so we're budding up to Andhra, who's now become one of the major powers in Central East Indian politics. Okay, so we do have a diplomat phrase, so I want to show you what would happen if we break a truce. We're not going to follow through with it. It tells us stability effects, so you always should check this when you're preparing for a war. We would lose 5 stability for breaking a truce. We'd get 5 war exhaustion, and we would upset all other nations around us by picking up 50 aggressive expansion. So that could instantly provide many countries with enough aggressive expansion to join a coalition. Jampur Timurids would be the most likely to join. So that's nasty. Don't truce break unless you really, really need to. Some people do it when they're going for world conquest because time is the most valuable asset. They usually do it later on in the game. The relations with Chanda right over here are now as good as they can get. Let's work on Malabar, Mysore. And we're starting to fall behind in administrative technology. We don't want to have a gap of more than 2. We see we have 5 here and 7's there. We want to get this one up to 6, or these get up to 9. Otherwise, we're going to start getting corruption. I can picture that as having like a really powerful military-industrial complex that tries to get policies in place that benefit them, but not the nation overall. Okay, so we've picked up some more Hindu territory that, of course, I'm going to give to our dhimmi. Now our ulama is complaining that it doesn't have enough land. Fortunately for them, we've got some choice Sunni property over here that we can't give to our dhimmi. And why do I keep giving stuff to our dhimmi? Well, I like this tolerance to heathens. We don't need to convert anything. And it's all perfectly stable, perfectly accepting regardless of the religion. And it keeps our technology costs low. We're getting fine taxes. It means that we can conquer stuff of any religion and just be okay with it. One thing we haven't checked on in a while is our force limits. So we're allowed 13 ships. We're working on that. Quickly as we have sailors. Now we'll have 7 ships when all of these are built. We can make 7,000 more land troops. Let's get to 16 there. So that'll give us a 20,000 that we can support here. We can still make 3 more units after that. Let's order some cannons. And we haven't really looked at cannons yet on the battlefield or on sieges, so as soon as we have them, I'll show you what they do. Or, go ahead and buddy up to them a little bit. And while we're in an extended period of peace like this with very little chance of rebels, a little chance here. We don't have to pay our troops their full wages. We could try saving some cash. We have 400 more points here, so we could get another idea here. As I noted, I don't want to fall too far behind. Let's do just this one, because now we have 3 completed, and that unlocks our first Delian or Indian Sultanate idea. I'm not sure if Baluchistan has Indian. No, they do have. Not sure who else has Indian Sultanate ideas. We're probably not the only nation. Maybe somebody like Ladakh or Kashmir might have the same set. And what that does is gives us 50% more religious unity. If our nation is religiously divided, and we'll start to have penalties. And if that ever comes in place, we'll look at specifically what those are. But since we're so tolerant, even our Hindu people view themselves as being, part of our community and don't subtract from our religious unity. So that's one of the unique features of being an Indian Sultanate, is basically we don't have those religious cleavages in any meaningful sense. Okay, some prominent men are pointing out the direction we're going in our country is the bad one for a military tax, so we could turn around directions and lose 50 military power, or we could lose 10 prestige from here. I think we're going to lose the prestige. So we've been paying our troops their full wages. We could go to our main country view, the economics tab, and slide this down to pay our troops only half wages if we wanted to. So that changes their morale here from being green to being yellow. They won't fight as well, so we wouldn't want to go to war like this. Okay. But we're not paying as much money as we were, such as adding more cash to our treasury. However, with our income being what it is, already prosperous, I just want to stay ready for anything. Now the Renaissance is spread from us to Malwa, and technology will be cheaper for them. So our Renaissance is spreading to Baluchistan, it's spreading to Ladakh, it's spreading to Gujarat, and Jampur has already embraced it. It's spreading to Bagelkhand. It will rapidly spread throughout Malwa now that they've embraced it. Since it was only in a tiny bit of their country, they had to spend a lot of money to get it. And we could expect in the next 16 years or so, it doesn't always happen exactly on 1500. It's supposed to happen on January 1st, 1500, if anyone meets the requirements. But for colonialism, what we could expect is that some nation who for their idea group has selected exploration, has gone far enough into it, unlocked these first 2 ideas, so that they have the quest for the New World. And if somebody has done that, then it's possible for them to be the place where colonialism spawns. And if they've discovered the New World, for instance, Portugal or Castile have discovered the New World in Brazil or the Caribbean, then that increases the chances that it's going to be them. So that just weights it more heavily in their favor. And sorry if you hear weird noises over the mic. I'm not sure exactly how sensitive it is when I do this, but I'm drinking a soda at the moment. Getting some caffeine. Some people have suggested that discovery of Australia could count as part of the New World as well. But I haven't tested that, so I don't know for certain. That means if we had been a coastal nation, if we were, say, Vijayanagar, we could have focused on exploration and tried to start colonizing some of these islands in the Indian Ocean and made our way down to South Africa and Australia. And that could have been like the ethnically Indian writer Salman Rushdie had written, Indians are like sand, they just get everywhere. But alas, that is not the direction we are taking our country. We didn't have a coast when we were picking things, and we want to be a continental power. Salman Rushdie is great, by the way. You should read him. Now that our technology is getting better and better, we're getting more and more options for buildings. But for right now... Oh. Our general. One of our generals died. Fortunately, we still have that 2-star one. It was really good. Really good for this time in the game. As things go on further and we unlock more and more idea groups, more and more military idea groups specifically, our generals be expected to get better. As we conquer more, get more fights, our army tradition will go up, which you can think of as the experience that our officer corps has. They'll produce better and better generals. Early game, it's rare to see great generals, unless they're provided by historical events. Like the French and English start with some nice generals. Due to the 100 Years' War. Looks like Chagatai is having some problems, and Timurids have remained stable. They quite often experience some problems in the early game. Okay, merchant guilds, we could give them monopoly charters and ask for administrative power in exchange. We could seek support of our clergy, and ask for administrative power in exchange. As long as we keep this loyalty at 40 or above, we're getting bonuses and not suffering any of the nasty penalties. Mala's ruler died, so we had to renew that royal marriage. If we're playing as different nations, we might not even have royal marriages, or some countries can have royal marriages and not suffer any losses of legitimacy. For instance, the Timurids, as a Khanate, a steppe nomad, one of the successors to the great Mongol horde, they don't have legitimacy. They have something called horde unity. They can royal marry anyone they want without fear of losing any legitimacy. Republics don't have a ruler who's a monarch. They have somebody who's elected in some fashion, so they don't have legitimacy either. They have republican tradition about how essentially how loyal people are to the idea of a republic. And nothing super interesting going on the world stage. Ming is much weaker than they were, and now they're not hostile towards us, so that's nice. Wondering if we could ever get Gujarat and Malwa to break off their alliance. Gain some money. And I'll show you something about diplomacy. Baluchistan has embraced the Renaissance. Good for them. Okay, so this is one of the events that comes from our administrative ideas. It's been added to the list of possible events that can pop up. Thanks to our policies of centralization, we are better able to control the administration of our state, yielding benefits for all. Great news. For the next 10 years, our corruption lowers, which we've been able to control wonderfully, and we lose autonomy. We extend control of our central government over our provinces more rapidly. That's nice. And each month, we can see here, based off of the fact that we are a kingdom, so it's the government form and rank, rather than some minor little duchy, we're increasing the control of our central government. We're bringing down that autonomy. And when we're at peace, we're bringing it down even more rapidly. And now that event is bringing it down. So every month that we're at peace, we'll see this autonomy dropping. Okay, so I was going to look at something about diplomacy in just a second. Pull back a diplomat to help. Okay, grain prices are high, and people are upset that could be immoral. So do we force our merchants to lower their prices? That would drop their loyalty by 20 points, 26. So that would bring them below 40, and we would suffer that our trade efficiency would go down, meaning that they wouldn't make us as much money on trade. That doesn't sound good. We could not get involved, which would cause peasant uprisings like the French Revolution. Our merchants would be happy with us and gain more influence. No, let's pay for ourselves what bread there is and distribute it. So the countryside won't be upset, no revolts. Our merchant guilds will become more loyal, get a little bit more influence, but it'll cost us money. We're saving up money just for crises like that. Okay, our Dhimmy's influence has dropped. So let's lighten our tax burden and get them super loyal, just to enjoy these bonuses for longer. Okay, we got our diplomat free. So as a great power, one of our options is that we could demand that a nation break an alliance with somebody else. Demand that Gujarat break off their alliance with Malwa. Or we can demand that Malwa, our friend, break their alliance with Gujarat. And they're almost willing to accept it. You can see there it says trust towards Gujarat. They trust Gujarat. They don't think Gujarat is going to backstab them or attack them, so they're reluctant to break off that alliance. So what is trust? If we click on nation, as long as you have the right downloadable content, when you go to the diplomacy, you will have 3 tabs here. One is the one that we've been using, where we form alliances with people, improve relations with them, etc. The second tab, if we can click on, shows you how Baluchistan feels about other nations like Adal, right over here, and how Adal feels about Baluchistan, and how Baluchistan feels about them. It tells us about us right here, but if we want to find out, like, how does Baluchistan feel about Gujarat, we'd say that relations between them are tense. The third tab, however, provide some information. This is where we've been managing our attitudes, telling people if we want to be friendly with them. And you can note that our attitude towards them is automatically ally, because we're allied to them, and we can't change that. You could see trust here, how much they're willing to trust us. And if we do dishonorable things, break promises, it will decrease. But otherwise, it will stay stable. And the higher the trust, the more likely they are to react positively to our diplomatic overtures. Like, if we ask them to join a war on our side. If our trust is high, they'll be more likely to do it. If somebody attacks us and they trust us more, they'll be more likely to try to defend us. So they owe us favors. And how are we getting favors? Well, every year that we've been allies, we get one favor. We could spend 10 of those favors to call them into a war. And we've been doing that quite frequently with Baluchistan. But with some of the others, we could spend 10 down here to increase their trust of us by 5. So let's do that. Vijay Nagar. Why didn't we do it twice? Well, this makes them more likely to come to our assistance if we need them for something. But as I said, calling them into a war requires 10. I'd like to keep that option available if I need it. So I always try to, if possible, if I'm ever in the shape that I could plan out a war, I like to keep at least 10 favors with my allies. That way, if I need their assistance, I can call upon them. So Vijay Nagar, we could increase the trust, but that would leave us with only 8 favors, and we wouldn't be able to call them into a war. So I'm going to leave it where it is. Bengal. We haven't called them into any wars, so we've accumulated 41 favors over the last 41 years that we've been their ally. Let's increase that trust, and again, we want at least 10, so that we can call them into a war if we need to. The other thing you'll notice is that there are red and yellow provinces. And what this means, you can see our own, that we view this province as being of vital interest to us. And why? Because we have a core there. When we click on another nation, oh, Malwa's our ally too, let's increase the trust. Click on nation, it'll show the territory that's theirs and what they want on the global stage. It's like, whoops, didn't mean to do that. Let's click on Baluchistan. We can see that they're very interested in all of this red stuff. If our interests overlap with them, that could threaten the alliance. So they're saying they would be very interested in, if we went to war with the Timurids, they would want this territory. And if we really wanted that territory, it would upset Baluchistan. Now the yellow means that they would take it if we offered it. If we went to war with the Timurids and called them Baluchistan and offered them in the peace deal this province, they would take it happily. Gujarat views this as being of vital interest to them, so they must have a core here. Well, they might have a core there. And the rest of this stuff, they would take it if given. Vijay Nagar would be really likely to join us in a war, conquest against Gujarat, if they thought that they could get these provinces out of it. Let's just take a look at where we are. Progress check on forming Hindustan. We need some provinces. We need Kathiawar, which is right here. And we need some provinces, Mandu, which is right here. Mahakashal is right there. Mandla, which is right here. Jaunpur, which is right there. Lower Doab, right there. And then Chanderi, which is right here. So we only need to conquer 3 different countries at this point to be able to form Hindustan. One of them is Jaunpur, second one is Gujarat, and then we need some territory from Malwa. So eventually we're going to set aside this alliance and turn on Malwa. But first we can conquer Jaunpur. And we have successfully integrated Garhwal into our country. So if we didn't mind going over in our diplomatic relations again, we could try picking up another ally. And Bagelkhand would become our vassal, so let's just do that. We're ahead of time in our diplomatic technology. It's not essential for us that we try to maximize our income of diplomatic power. And while we've got some free diplomats in a few years, why don't we build up a spy network and try to claim some more of Jaunpur in preparation for that war. And it's 30 minutes for this video, so I'm going to stop it and start up a new one and continue this session. Thank you for watching.